I'm here with country music singer-songwriter JD Shelburne. JD has been making an immediate fan out of everybody who hears his music or has seen one of his shows. JD, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to talk with us for a while about your music and also about the journey, to where you are right now in your career. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you having me, man. An honor to be here, and it's good to chat with you.
Thank you. Maybe you tell us a little bit about your journey from Taylorsville, Kentucky to Nashville. It's inspiring. Can you maybe talk about a little bit how you decided to leave the comfort of your hometown and head over to Nashville to pursue your career?
Well, I grew up in Taylorsville, Kentucky, which is a little small town right outside of Louisville, the big city, and I grew up there on a tobacco farm. Grew up in a small town that you kind of knew everybody, and I played sports my entire life. It wasn't until college when music really came prominent in my life. When I went off to college in 2002, my grandmother back home passed away unexpectedly, and after her death, I ended up finding an acoustic guitar that was in her house that I never really knew she had, and it's kind of developed as a hobby. I started playing, just took it back to college and started playing music around the apartment, the dorm room, wherever I was living, going to class, and just kind of doing it to pass the time, and just kind of developed the knack for it. Started teaching myself to play and sing, and one thing kind of led to another. Next thing you know, I was playing events back home. I was playing anybody that needed a live entertainer or they could sing some songs. They were usually calling me. So those things kind of led to bigger gigs along the way, and I just kept at it. And I played around Louisville, played around really the Kentucky region for several years. I didn't really know if I was good enough to go to Nashville. I didn't know. I knew I was making fans. I was making some money along the way, and I was having fun. And that was really the main part, all while going to school. And so I ended up graduating college with 2 degrees in 2007, and I moved back to Taylorsville that year, 2007, and was kind of like at a crossroads. I had built a pretty good fan base. I was pretty popular in the area. But the fact I was still kind of scared of Nashville because I didn't really know anybody, but I thought I had a legitimate shot because I'd come down here a few times, and one thing led to another. Moved to Nashville, and I've been here ever since, and had quite a bit of success and been very blessed.
What do you think that was like the most important interaction when you got to Nashville? Like, you're taking a big leap of faith. Your family, your parents say, go do this. You got to do this. This is the right thing for you right now in your life. You got your degrees, you saw school out, but now try this. You've got a plan B just in case. But you were, so determined to do this. What was that turning point interaction at Nashville? Because I'm sure when you first got there, it was a little bit challenging, like you said. You didn't know anybody. What was that turning point where you felt like, I can do this and it's going to happen?
Well, when I moved to Nashville and actually moved down here, and people were back home were aware I was living here, it really took me to the next level. I mean, people back home were like, oh man, this guy lives in Nashville. He's got to be a star now, and it's almost like it was the way people look at you differently because you're in Nashville and you're actually outside of Taylorsville, and people are like, oh man, this guy's serious. And so really when I started getting a Nashville address, I started getting bigger shows. I built a better band. The band I had back home, they were great, but they all had full-time jobs, and music wasn't their passion like it was mine. And when I got to Nashville, I started meeting people that were better than me, artists or guitar players that were better than what I had, and that were more dedicated. And, all those things, it was like a full circle that's kind of came down, and we all just meshed. And, I was making money. I was making good money. Anytime you can make money doing something you love,
absolutely,
you continue the hustle. I mean, maybe if I was doing this for free for 10 years, I'd have given up a long time ago. But when you can make extra money on the side doing something you actually love, and the more you do it, the more popular you become, the more money you make. And I feel like that helped along the way, and started building a lot of fans, and everybody I met, I was just super nice to and appreciative of. And I feel like, once that started happening, I'm still that way to this day, even though I've had some success. I'm appreciative of real fans. People can't, you can buy your Facebook likes, you can buy your Spotify streams, you can buy this, but you can't buy fans and real fans. And like, I feel like that just along the way, I just started shaking hands and telling people I appreciated them. And one thing led to another. And, when I moved to Nashville and got down here and started realizing that I had a legitimate shot, it just takes a lot of hard work and grind. And, what else did I have to do? I was by myself all the time. I just learned it, figured it out.
I mean, that's a big thing, is that you, going back to what you said about being able to love what you do. Sometimes, I mean, you work awfully hard. I mean, you do, like you said, in normal times, lots of shows, lots of press, lots of meeting people, talking to people. But at the end of the day, even though it was a long day and a lot of work, you say, wow, I get paid to do this kind of a thing. This is my love,
Right.
you have a job that you love to do. Because I think about that in, my music, in my life, all music related things in my life. And boy, they pay me to talk about something I love to talk about, or to play something, or to sing something, or to whatever
Yep.
it is, So let's talk about your fans for a quick moment. It's just so obvious you go out of your way to build a relationship with them. Just hearing you now, but watching so much of the interactions that you've had with them, the different events, whether it be your hometown reunion show, or watching events that, your videos, just you're very active in social networking to tell your fans what you're doing at a given moment of the day. And you can tell they love you. What's it like to have a fan like sing along to the lyrics of one of your songs, like on a live show, or to have them tell you that a song that you wrote made a life-changing impact on them?
It's surreal, man. I mean, when I first started playing music, and started writing songs, and putting songs on an album that I had written, and people were singing them back to me, it's almost like, man, this, if this is all I'll ever do, this is enough. I mean, it's really cool to know you've written a song that resonates with people. And it's even more humbling when I get videos from parents of fans whose kids are in the back seat in a car seat that are singing my songs, and they have no idea the lyrics are singing. It's just it's bizarre to see kids sing songs that I've written, and it's mind blowing how music connects with people. And I feel like, even though with 2020 the way it is right now, COVID, canceled pretty much the entire music industry in a whole, and on the touring side of things, like, you still always have the music, and that helps you get through, day to day. And music's such a big part of all of our lives. And I feel like, it's just a crazy feeling when people that you've grown up with, or people you've grown up with that have kids that know your songs. It's just like, it's just wild. It makes it all worth it in the end.
I think, like you said, music is like a universal language that I think has helped us through these hard times. We certainly miss the live concert industry. We miss that right now, and I know you miss performing, but we kind of have used our music and our love for music to kind of pull through these tough times, I think. And people can relate to, sometimes lyrics pull them through, something
Right.
that you might have said in one of your songs has helped them to get through horrible times, including right now how we struggle.
It's right. It's so true, man. Such a good point. It takes me back to, over quarantine, I do a lot of shows at night. Pretty much every night I get on and just play songs, cover songs. I'll do random nights. I play my wife in Uno. I'll do like stuff I found in my garage, just weird stuff, just anything that can people get to know me more. And I remember one night, this lady told me that she had just been diagnosed with cancer and was going through chemo, and my CD got her through the day. And I'm like, you know what? Like, at the end of the day, when nothing else goes right, like, that makes everything, like, I mean, you could listen to a million acts right now out there, but when she told me she listened to my songs through her headphones while she was going through chemo, I'm like, it just gives me cold chills telling you that, man. And it's just like, it's just wild how sometimes music touches certain people, and even at their most trying times of their lives. I mean, this lady was dying of cancer, and she wanted to listen to my voice because it soothed their soul. And I'm like, man, like, that stuff you can't pay for. Like, and that hits home.
And what an impact, that overwhelming feeling of the impact you made on her that day, and how you helped her through, what was a horrible day for her, to have to go through that, and to think that, wow, not only do you get to do what you love to do, but on the way you get to inspire people, and you get that feedback. You get that feedback from them. They tell you how you've impacted. Some people never know in their careers how they've help somebody. They maybe teachers don't always hear from their students. They're lucky sometimes to get a email or something years later, say, I became this and thank you so much. But this is a career where you can get that direct feedback when you meet someone in person, or through an email, or through something.
Yep.
To say, boy, you made a difference, and you get to do what you love to do.
Exactly. I mean, it's pretty amazing reward. And that's one thing I've appreciated since day one in the music business, is no matter, any concert I've ever done, I've always had someone say, hey, love your music, or, love your songs. You write about truth, and that's why we like your music. And it's just like, that's what I write about, what I've lived. And it's been a great story, and I'm just so thankful and glad I'm stuck with it.
Well, and you say, you write about what you've lived, and other people have lived some of the stories that you've told, and they can relate to it. Your lyrics are very relatable, I feel. And listening to
Thank
your
you.
songs, I think your lyrics are very relatable. You mention lots of places and things and moments in life that make people say, wow, I feel that way too, or I've done that, or I've been, and so your lyrics are very relatable, I think.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Quick question for you before we start talking about your single. I want to talk about the single and upcoming record. I want to just ask you when you, like, what was your first gig in Nashville, your first show, like what, and what was that like, just to know you were playing in Nashville?
Okay, so the very first show I got in Nashville, I was still in college. It was about 2007, and I'd emailed. There was a bar on Demumbrium Street, which is still there. The bar's not there. The bar's there, but there's a different name, of course. But it was an Irish pub, and I remember coming down. I don't know. Like, we even got paid. I mean, it was just crap money. It wasn't even worth it. I mean, we went in the hole, but we were playing Nashville, and it's just like we wanted to say we were playing Nashville.
Uh-huh.
And we drove down from Lexington, and like literally my whole family showed up. Like, it was just such the biggest deal. It wasn't even a big club. It was just like a small Irish pub on Music Row. And yeah, we did that show, and we thought we were so cool. And I still remember, like, getting to put Nashville on our website was just such a huge deal. And like, now I've played Nashville a million times, and it's not really that big of a deal. But back then, like, we drove down, we stayed in a hotel across the street, we played the show, and it was cool, man. It was the first time my band had ever played Nashville, and to be able to come to Nashville and say you played down in Nashville at the time was a really big step. And I cannot think of the bar's name. I think it was On the Rocks. It was called On the Rocks. I'll never forget that. And it's been gone for probably 10 years now. But yeah, it was. Then after that, I played Nashville Palace a couple times. I got them to give me a shot, and I played with them for a little while. I did an acoustic night every week when I got in town. Did that, and then I played a couple of places on Broadway here and there. And then that's when I started kind of building my name and started getting stuff like festivals. I was starting to get areas back home, and I always really was, becoming popular kind of around my home state. And so I was playing more really out on the road on the weekends, kind of a weekend warrior type deal. And I've been doing that ever since. And so it's I hope one day that I don't forget all this, because I have a great book to write, and I've got so many great stories.
Yeah, it's an inspiring journey, and every day is a new adventure. Every day is a new adventure. I understand right now you're on the cover of the Kentucky tourism brochure, correct? I mean, your hometown, and everybody in your home state can be proud to know that they, that you're representing all of them.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm on the it's a tourism magazine. Basically, it's about 450,000 copies. Almost 500,000 copies are out. All over the state right now, every rest area, every hotel room. And when they asked me to be on the cover of that back first of the year, I was blown away. And that's been a really great promo tool for me, man. I've been able to reach a lot of fans. A lot of my people back home that's followed me for years were just like overwhelmed with it. And I'm actually on the front and the back cover. It's you see the front of me and the back of me on a bar stool. It's pretty neat. And so when I got that, man, I mean, I don't know if there's a bigger thing in Kentucky you can get. I mean, that's pretty much top of the totem pole for me. And that happened in January. And when that got confirmed, I had a big presentation of it at the state capitol, and the governor was in attendance, and I had to make a speech. And then COVID hit in March, and then I started losing tons of shows because of this magazine guide. Like, I had every fair, festivals, I was just rolling in gigs, and then COVID hit. Of course, it's kind of all trickled off, but the tourism guide's still out there, and we just did a promo for it this past week. They're going to rejuvenate it, represent it out, get it back out to the crowds, to the guests and the tourists. And so I'm pretty excited about that. That's a pretty huge step for me.
It's on hold for a moment, but I'll tell you, when we can get this all back to the concert industry, it's going to be that much bigger for you. You have even more time to think about it, and more time to plan, and more time to write some more songs. I mean, you're writing songs all the time, so it's going to be good. It's making a grander entrance back into the world of country music for you, right back in. So it's going to be good.
Brother.
It's going to be good.
Amen.
So let's fast forward to today with your music that you're writing. Your current single, Church Pew Bar Stool. It's had amazing, exposure and success at CMT. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that how it blew up there.
Well, man, it's been overwhelming. We shot the video. We actually recorded the album. I was going to put the album out this weekend in my hometown. I do a big release party, and due to COVID, we had to push the album release back. And just when I was starting to like gathering songs, recording songs, I lived next door to a #1 hit writer, and he pitched this song to me a while back. Fell in love with the melody, fell in love with the story, and I always thought when I recorded the song, like this would make a great music video. And COVID hit. And gigs were starting to fall off, and I'm like, you know what? I got to keep the momentum going on the PR side because that's the most important thing. Keep fans interested, keep people coming to my site. And so we shot this video in Franklin, Kentucky at this church. And, man, this video just shot like wildfire. CMT picked it up. It went #1 on their 12-pack countdown the first week. It's got about 110,000 views on Facebook. It's got 70,000 on YouTube right now. And it's been a whirlwind, man. I love the song. I love the story it tells. And so many people that I didn't even realize that were fans were like, man, we've been following you for years, and this is the best song you put out. I'm like, I had no idea you even followed me. And so it's been pretty wild to see it grow and continue to grow. It's on my new record coming out, so I'm just building momentum for my new record. We'll probably release it in a few months or maybe the first of next year, so I can really start grinding that. But these songs really help still build momentum.
Yeah, it's just it's a very, I think people can relate to that song too, like that the lyrics of that song, and it's just everyday life, trying to be a good person, trying to be a faithful person, a faithful steward, and knowing that no one's perfect, that no one's perfect. And at the same time we help people sort through their problems at a bar stool, to talk through their problems, and we all have struggles. We share them together. And we talk about how we, none of us are. We all just work together to solve our problems, and we always have a good ear for a friend or a stranger sometimes.
That's right.
To have an open ear for somebody to help them get back to their place in life. So
that's right. Yeah.
It's I love the song. I can listen to it over and over. I love it. I've watched the video several times. It's in my head. It's up here. It's kind of burned in there in a good way. I love it, and I'm looking forward to just getting the word out to help you get the word out too. Hopefully through our time together today, to share this with so many people and to get people to realize what you're doing. You're one person at a time. You're winning over country music fans, and I'm just so fun to watch this. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Talk a little bit about your songwriting, maybe. Well, let me ask you about the video too. You talked about the video, and when you're writing a song, at what point do you start thinking about that? Like, then this point, like your neighbor, had written this song, and you're thinking, wow, it'd make a great video. When you're writing your own lyrics, and you're saying, when do you start thinking about that at all, or is it kind of like you don't want to think about that till your song is done, about a video itself?
Sometimes I write songs. I was writing with a guy named Phil O'Donnell yesterday, and he's written a bunch of hits, and he's my producer, and I get in a room with him every now and then. And like, there's sometimes we write, I'll be halfway through a song, and I'm like, man, this sounds like a movie. Or this sounds like this would be a great video. And I feel like as an artist and a fan of other people's music, as an artist on the outside looking in, like, I want to see videos of songs. I love to see videos. I love to see songs brought to life. And I feel like fans have taken me more serious when I first started with music videos. I really think if you got a music video, like, you're legit. And yeah. It's funny how people perceive you with music videos, but that's a lot of times when I'm writing songs, I write about true life events if I can. I think for one, they're easier to write, and two, they make great videos. And so a lot of times I do think about music videos. And that's when I heard Pew Bar Stool, before I even thought about recording, I thought, man, this would make just a sick video. And we found a church in a little town that I played in town. I played a little festival in Franklin, Kentucky last year. Ended up knowing the tourism director, and she got me this church for free. And so it worked perfect, man. And sometimes videos really make songs come to life, and I feel like people appreciate that even more.
Yeah, it's to watch the video, and it's not only does the song have to be good, but the video has to look well produced and everything. In all of your videos, they're so well produced. There's a lot to watch, and you're interacting with people, or in that case of that song, just the journey into the church and sitting there in a quiet church and reflecting, and it's very meaningful. And that's, I can see how it got to #1 on CMT. I can see it.
Thank you, man. It means a lot, and we're grateful for it. And I'm really excited to play it out live. I've only played it one time with my band. We got to do one show with my full band for a Louisville Police Metro benefit, Louisville Metro Police benefit, and we played that song live with my band. And it felt so weird. I'm like, we should have been playing this all summer, but we've canceled so many shows, and like it felt really good singing it or to play it live because so many people were singing this song that I didn't even know. And so it just goes to show me people are paying attention online, watching my socials, watching the video, downloading the song, and so it's been a good feeling despite we've lost a ton of shows.
Right. Well, it'll make it that much more meaningful, like we said before. Make it that much more meaningful when it comes back.
Amen.
So you said the album is kind of on hold a little bit right now. It's ready to go pretty much, but kind of finding the right time to put it out. Maybe it was originally, I know you said you were going to do a release party this weekend.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of been bumped out a little bit further, but ready to put it out. You're ready to go with it.
Yeah, the album's called Straight from Kentucky, and I thought it was only fitting to have a title called that. I wrote the song called Straight from Kentucky that's, of course, being on the tourism guide, being where I'm from. The song I wrote, Straight from Kentucky's on it as well. I was featured on back in May, it's the Texas Roadhouse Artist of the Month nationwide. So I was in every restaurant, 680 restaurants, and so that was one of the songs they featured. So everything just kind of fell into place. I'm like, you know what, how can I not name this song Straight from Kentucky? Because with all the momentum I got going on in my home state, and being on the tourism guide, and so it worked. And so this album's done. It's going to have 10 songs. It's just, it's probably my best work of art yet. I got a new producer, a fresh sound, and these songs are just so good, man. I wrote only about 3 of them, and like the other, there's just so many good songwriters in this town that I just love their music. And I got to record several big songs, and I'm already thinking about the next video to put out. I'll probably put out another video depending on when we decide to release the album. I'm just not sure yet with COVID going on if we should try to release it this year or just save it, make it the first thing out of the gate next year for 2021 and just promote it all summer. But it's crazy to think that, that I've had to delay this album. But at the same time, who knows? Maybe I'll put another track on it, a little bonus track, just to build it some more.
Yeah, that would be an awesome idea, really, to think about that, to just kind of keep expanding it. It's finished, but now you can kind of sit there and go, okay, well, let's add this to it. Let's do this with it. And you got time to think about it. Where sometimes I would imagine in the industry, you start to feel that pressure of, okay, we got to get this out. The momentum's here. We can't lose it. Well, now we're forced to not have that momentum. And it's like, well, what can we do to make the momentum that much more meaningful when we get back to it? What can we do?
Exactly right.
So I think, we'll be excited to hear it. Where would you send a fan who, obviously your new single, where would you send them next to your other albums that you've previously released? What should they listen to next if they're waiting for this new album?
Well, my record I put out in 2018 did wonders for me. It's called Two Lane Town. We had a couple singles off it. One single went top 30. The other single, was a top 3 at CMT, and it's called Two Lane Town. I've been promoted the last couple years, and it's probably I've put out 5 albums in Nashville. It's my most popular album. I have fans to this day that say they listen to it every single day, and I'm like, y'all are crazy. And they're like, it's just that good. And I'm like, that's just mind blowing, but I appreciate it, but I would definitely direct fans to my latest record. You really get to know me, really get to know kind of what I'm about. And there's some really great songs on my last record that I've got to record. And so I'm still singing them every night. And for once, I'm not, a lot of times as an artist, you get sick of your songs. You sing them over and over and over. But this record, I am still singing it. And there's not a song on there that I'm tired of singing, if that makes any sense. And,
no, I know what you're saying. Some people, when a song gets so big for them, they lose their interest in it, and they have to keep singing it every night. They have to make it big. Every night it's got to be big, and they've got to put that emotion in. It's like, oh, I've sung this so many times. So if you could still feel the freshness in your music, then boy, does that translate to the audience. It just has to. It's automatic. They could feel
absolutely.
Your
absolutely automatic, for sure.
When with you talk, there's so many people that in Nashville that you can collaborate with, to either write a song with or to find a song from. Is there anybody out there that you feel like, man, this is the next person I want to write a song with, or someone that you've looked up to all these years and influence in music that you're just waiting to make that phone call to have someone in your group reach out to them?
Yeah, there's a lot of artists and a lot of writers. There's writers like Jeffrey Steele. It's been out forever. He's written a lot of hits, and there's a lot of songwriters I'd love to get in a room with. And slowly I have been able to get that. When I first moved to town, that was the hardest thing to really conquer, was to get in the room with writers that had success. Yeah. And there's a lot of writers here that really hadn't had any success and just trying to write, but to really get in a room with people that have written number 1s and top 10s, and it's almost like it's like a clique you got to get in. And when I moved next door to Mark a couple years ago, Mark Nessler's his name. He's written a lot of hits, and I'd known his name a long time. And he was kind of a godsend for me. to meet him. And so we've been great friends. And sorry, somebody called my phone. We've been great friends, and he's brought me in the room with some of his writers, like Tony Martin, and I've gotten to write with Phil O'Donnell and Marty Dodson. And it's been really neat to write with these writers that actually have had success, because their mind works a completely different way. I mean, they get an idea, and it's almost like you just follow them. You're scared to even put an input in, because they're just on a flow, and like they just done it for so long, and they've actually written hits, so they know what a hit sounds like. And I've just been really grateful to be in the room a few times with artists that have written songs that I grew up listening to. And so it's pretty cool. But there's always artists I want to write with, and that was the hardest thing. Like I said, is trying to meet these guys and getting them to believe in you. But when you move next door to one, they don't have a damn choice. So.
Yeah, that's very true. They're stuck with you, right? And in a good way. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for both of you. I'm sure Mark enjoys the camaraderie with you too. I'm sure he's excited to see your career going where it's going. Yeah,
he's been a really great asset.
Is there someone that I know you've toured with so many people, you've opened or shared a build with so many people, either, across the states or in Kentucky area, in Nashville and Tennessee and everything. Any favorite show that you can think back to that someone you were with, that you toured with or did a show for? I know you did like 50 or 60 different people I've seen that you have.
Yeah. I've opened for 50 national acts. I got to say, going back home to the 2013 Kentucky State Fair, I had played the beer tents out in the front concourse, but I'd never played the main stage inside the stadium. I'd done the beer tents 5 years in a row. And in 2013, I got called to open up for Montgomery Gentry at the stadium at the State Fair in 13. And man, that was a huge step for me. I mean, to go from singing the beer tents at night, there were sellout crowds. I played the sellout crowds every night, and I really felt like I was due for the next step. And to go back home and play that was a big step. And then I got to play Chicago White Sox game. I played on home plate to the whole stadium, and back in I think 14 or 15. I got to headline the NASCAR race last year. Go back home to the Quaker State 400 NASCAR race, and they had acts like Loretta Lynn. They'd had like Sawyer Brown, and to go back as a Kentucky boy and headline the NASCAR race was huge. And they paid pretty well too, so that was so nice. But got to be on a bill last year with Tim McGraw. I mean, that was pretty mind blowing. I actually framed that poster upstairs in my music room. To see his name above mine about 3 spots was pretty neat. And then I've had a lot of those moments, man. Opened up for Craig Morgan in Freedom Hall, the arena that I saw my very first concert in '92 when Garth Brooks headlined. To go back to that arena that I saw every concert in and actually play it, that was a pretty surreal moment for me. I've had a bunch of those.
I can only imagine what that has to feel like. Yeah, that's just so amazing. Well, I want to respect your time today. I know you've got it's a busy Friday in Nashville, I'm sure. And, I really thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about your music. I'm one fan at a time. I want to be on that route with you to help win these people over, one at a time, and just really help people to get to know your music and who you are. And so excited to watch the journey from the sidelines here with you,
I appreciate it, man.
So we'll be watching we're watching for the new record, Straight from Kentucky, coming soon to a website or a store, in the world of digital music. What do we say? How do we say it now? We say, coming soon to a music social media provider near you, I guess, huh?
Yeah, so, there you go. That works for me, man. Yeah. Thank you for all the great questions.
Absolutely. And I wish you all the best of success, you and your family. And thank you so much for your time today.
Yep. Thanks again, brother. See you, man.
Bye-bye.